which is a third-degree felony. Now,
So you guys know that I am a massive Josh Hamilton fan, and just recently a scandal broke out and I was DM'd it about 1,000 times. I said on Twitter that if it got to 200 likes we would talk about it for a video, but what we're going to do is we're going to talk about all the Josh Hamiltons in the history of baseball, all of the guys that were great on the field but maybe not that great off of it. We saw what happened to Felipe Vasquez, and honestly I don't even want to talk about that one more time because it just makes me so angry, but there's one Felipe Vasquez-esque player on this list. I'm hoping that you guys don't know who he is, but we got to talk about it. This will be the starting lineup of some of the worst human beings that have played Major League Baseball. Some of them are kind of, it's not so bad, and then others on the other spectrum of, wow, they are not good people. So without further ado, let's get into it. At the catcher's position, we have the 1987 Rookie of the Year, Mr. Benito Santiago. If you guys play MLB The Show 19, he just got his first card in the game, so it's actually kind of surprising considering what he did in his past. Now, it's nothing too sketchy because of what he did happen in 2019. A lot of people would be just brushing off like, it's legal in most states, but he had a certain infatuation with a specific, I don't want to say it because I don't want this video to get demonetized, but He liked what Bob Marley liked. Let's just leave it at that. But that's not really what got Benito in trouble. What really got him in trouble is the fact that he decided to in his Mercedes, and then he went for a joyride sort of thing. He was running stoplights, he was running stop signs, he was speeding all over the place. So he went from leading the league in caught stealing, so he was a really good catcher. I mean, he won 3 Gold Gloves, to leading the league in caught speeding. See, this is why you subscribe to Fuzzy, for excellent analysis like that. Caught stealing to caught speeding. There we go. Now we have to move all the way over to first base. Now, I have not skipped the starting pitcher, so don't worry about that just yet. There is a starting pitcher from this list that just makes you think, what are you doing? There were so many charges for this guy, but sticking to first base, Orlando Cepeda was one of my favorite cards to use in MLB The Show history. That's the final time I'll talk about MLB The Show, I promise. But this guy, he was prolific as a baseball player. He was an 11-time All-Star. I believe that the Giants actually retired his number. Was he number 30? I could be wrong on that, but Orlando Cepeda, as good as he was on the diamond, if we take a look, I'm going to look at my script right now. Oh man, yeah, so he's a Hall of Famer, so again, we know that he's an excellent baseball player, but off the field, he got divorced, and that kind of started the drug abuse and everything like that. He was sentenced to 5 years in prison back in 1978, and it was for the same thing as Benito Santiago. So I don't think that it would be a huge deal nowadays. He was sentenced to 5 years, but he only served 10 of those. Once he got out of jail, he was on the right track. He wanted to better his life. He wanted to show the world that he was a good person. So what he did is he signed up to be a person that would instruct children who were at risk for doing the same things that he did in his past life. So he wanted to be a good person. Unfortunately though, the ironic part about that is while he was serving as an instructor for children who were at risk for drug related issues, he was pulled over and he got caught with a baking soda like substance. Again, I'm trying to make sure that I do not get demonetized, but yeah, Orlando Cepeda, he kind of won up to Benito Santiago. Moving on over to second base, when I say the name Pete Rose, I'm sure that 99, I'm actually going to say 100% of you know who that is. He was one of the hardest working players in baseball history, and I would say that the name Pete Rose is one of the most famous names in all of sports. And we're not going to be talking about how he bet on baseball. Now, that was a crime in itself. Obviously, he's still banned to this day. Robert Manfred, if you're watching, I would say let's unban Pete Rose, get him into the Hall of Fame, but that's another story for another day. In 19, Pete Rose, also known as Charlie Hustle, he leads all of Major League Baseball history in hits and also the amount of times that a staffer had to wash his uniform, because every picture I see of Pete Rose, he's diving, so his uniform was always dirty. If we take a look back in 1990, I did not even know that this happened because Pete Rose is so prevalent in baseball history for being a gambler that I didn't know that he evaded taxes and he actually served 5 months in federal prison. If you guys knew that actually happened, let me know in the comment section down below, because this story, man, it missed me completely. I never even knew that this happened. So the moral of this story is, yes, you can be Pete Rose. You can be one of the best base runners of all time and know how to evade taggers who are trying to get you out. But if you're trying to evade the government and the law, It's not going to end well. I am sure that all of you have seen this image, whether it was on Twitter, Facebook, MySpace, however old you are. Maybe it's even Google Images. You were doing a project for school. I am sure that all of you have seen this thing right here. And to be honest, I thought this was for dramatic effects. I didn't even think that this was a real occurrence. But coming in at the shortstop spot, Jose Offerman, it did happen. Shortstop Jose Offerman is one of the few players in Major League Baseball history that homered in their first ever at bat. I also think that he was a two-time All-Star, so considering shortstops back in the day, he was in the conversation as one of the best in the league. But then, what was the year? I think it was 2007. Yeah, back in 2007, this infamous picture that was taken, this resulted in one of the biggest melees in baseball history. It was a minor league game. Offerman actually stormed after getting hit by a pitch. He stormed the pitcher, took his bat, and hit the dude with it. I did not think that this was an actual real life story, and the fact that it was, what was happening back in the day? There were so many things just, I mean, all of these stories, for the most part, aside from Josh Hamilton, they're all from back in the day. So maybe people just learned to be better citizens. I'm not really too sure. Gary Sheffield had one of the most powerful swings in the history of baseball, and also one of the most iconic batting stances. But not only did he have a prolific batting stance, he also had a prolific temper. I'm not sure what the year was, but he once, this is tragic. He tried to fight a police officer, which is not too smart. He spent 13 hours in jail. So you might have thought I was going to say 13 months, 13 years. No, 13 hours in jail for that assault charge, and then he was released on bond 3 hours before a San Diego Padres game. So he did that whole scuffle, he bailed, and then he played baseball. Gary Sheffield, okay. There was another time where Gary Sheffield was going down the line. I think it was at Fenway Park, and a fan tried to actually get in. Now, the fan swung on him, and then Gary Sheffield swung back. So again, you did not want to anger Gary Sheffield, because if you did, something like this would happen.
Ouch. Carmona again, and now he wants a piece of him. Here we go. It is on. Carmona trying to wrestle him to the ground. Now punch is being fired. Both benches have emptied. It's amazing.
Alright, so I'm reading my script right now, and this one is going to be a little bit difficult to talk about because it shakes me to my core, it angers me. Mel Hall joins the Felipe Vasquez club of scum of the earth, and I almost don't even want to talk about him, but we do because he makes the all-time lineup for guys that were not good human beings. So he really partook in some things that are very uncomfortable to talk about. But if you heard of the Felipe Vasquez story, the synopsis of it is that he was entertaining a relationship with a person that you are not supposed to entertain a relationship with. So I'm hoping that Felipe Vasquez goes to jail forever. I'm hoping that he's banned from baseball, just like Mel Hall, who is currently serving a 45-year sentence. And in my opinion, I think that Felipe Vasquez should get even more, and I think that Mel Hall got off easy. So I think they both should have got life sentences, but that's just me. I know this is kind of morbid to talk about, but to me, it's interesting. Alright, so now we are getting to the point where I really have to kind of choose my words wisely, because it's so disappointing that Josh Hamilton continues to make himself look like a bad person, because I truly think that Josh Hamilton is not a bad person. I read his book. It's called Beyond Belief. We all know the story. Drafted first overall, then he had some issues after a car crash because the pain was too great. He started getting into, pharmaceuticals and tattoos and the wrong crowd. Then he joined the Rangers, and the rest is history. In the home run derby at Yankee Stadium, he won an MVP. I think he hit 359 or 362. The guy was an absolute hitting machine, a 4 or 5-time All-Star, maybe even 6. This guy, honestly, if he would have stayed healthy and if he would have not had the personal issues, could have gone down as a top 10 baseball player in the history of our game. And now he's even retired from baseball. He was just honored by the Rangers. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, I'm going to roll a clip right now. I don't know what ceremony it was, but the Rangers were honoring Josh Hamilton, and he looks a little bit off. He sounds off, he looks off, so it just kind of plays into what's been happening. So we're going to roll the clip and then talk about what happened last week.
I love all of you. I am tremendously honored for this. It is unbelievable. It's the first time I've been back since I was done. So I forgot how the grass looks and smells, and I forgot how maybe loud y'all can get. I'm not sure.
So yeah, let me know in the comment section down below, did he look like he was fully there and conscious? Because when I first watched that, again, I'm biased, so I was thinking it's just Josh Hamilton. I've never really seen him have a fun interview. maybe it was fun for other reasons. I don't know. But recently, last week at the time of this recording, yeah, he got arrested for felony charges. And yeah, he is now no longer allowed to be within like 100 yards of a school and that his daughter's at. He threw a water bottle at her, and then he ripped the chair from under her and said, "I hope you tell the judge that so I never have to see you again." Just continues to weird me out. It's so odd. We have 3 more players on the list. This one is going to be our final position player. We have Darryl Strawberry. I've talked about him in other videos, so I almost feel like I don't have to go too in depth. We know what happened. He had some skirmishes with the law and a stolen car. He had issues with the baking soda substance, just everything you can think of under the sun that you can do aside from, ending someone's life. Darryl Strawberry did it. I told you guys about our starting pitcher, Danny McLean. I did not even know that this guy existed until we did our baseball quiz video yesterday where we talked about the graphs and everything like that. I was thinking, who won 30-something games back in 1968? And Danny McLean did. He won the Cy Young in 68 and 69, so back-to-back Cy Youngs, and even won the American League MVP in 1969. So this guy, honestly, was one of the most underrated pitchers of all time, and I think he's not talked about because if we take a look at all these things that happened. In 1970, he opened up about his gambling addiction. So he didn't go to jail for that, but he lost a good amount of money in 1970. If we go to 1996, he was arrested for stealing pension fund money. So I'm assuming that he used that to gamble. Again, that's just me assuming. If we fast forward to 1998, he missed a court date, another bad thing. And then in 2011, he was arrested at the Canadian border with a fugitive fraud warrant. Danny McLean, I hope that he's doing all right. I do not know the current status of this guy, but I'm hoping that he's turned his life around because 2011, that's fairly recent. And then last but not least, we have a relief pitcher. Now, we could talk about Felipe Vasquez, but this guy right here, I don't even know how to say his name, so I'm going to go ahead and just type it out right here. Yugith Urbina. Let's just say that he thought that he was Rambo. If you've ever seen the Rambo movies, you probably know what I'm getting at. I'm not even going to say it, but he was not a good person. He is currently serving a 14-year prison sentence, and he is released in 2021, which is a shame because if he avoided that, I think that he'd actually be in MLB The Show. He was one of the most feared pitchers of his time. He had 237 career saves, so honestly, again, he ruined it for himself just like everyone else on this list. I don't feel bad for anyone on this list because for the most part, it's all been self-inflicted. It's not been personal tragedies or anything like that. So again, this was kind of just an off-the-wall video. I wanted to make this because so many people sent me that Josh Hamilton story, but I did not want to single him out because, again, I am biased. I love Josh Hamilton as a baseball player. I mean, it is a little bit shaky now with my heartstrings because of what just happened. So I wanted to try and make a full video about this as opposed to just saying Josh Hamilton has had a rough week. But thank you all so much for watching. If you want to see more in-depth videos where we talk about anything under the sun involving baseball, let me know in the comment section down below what you would want to see, and also leave a like if you do want to see those, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. Very different video, but I enjoyed it. It's kind of fun. It was kind of more adult video. There you go.